Through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it aloud. Change in the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key. Make the big switch. Power to the people. Time to teach the rich. Legal battles can't hold him. He's moving on. With plans so bold, from dusk till dawn. He's rewriting the rules. A new dawn's day. From the hands of the few to the people's way. Say goodbye to all chains, embrace the new. A financial revolution, fair and true. For the workers, the dreamers, side by side. In Trump's new era, let freedom rise. Change in the wind.
What is up, everyone? I hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful Friday. I have got little Tina here. She is finally back home, and she is not the most comfortable lady at the moment. But I think that in the long run, she's going to end up being much, much happier now that she has got those rotting teeth pulled out of her mouth. So I hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful Friday. Let's see if what Tina is thinking. She's going right back to lounging around and hiding in a corner, but she is suffering on account of the teeth that she had to have pulled. But it seems as if she's improving. She's eating a lot of wet food. She is, yes, Kukla, she is. It's poor Tina, but she is improving quickly. Just since the day she got back, for the first 36 hours, she did not leave any hiding spot. I had to bring food, bring water. Between having the surgery done to get fixed and having what ended up being 6 teeth pulled out, she is she's not having a great time at the moment. She's not having a great time. But in the long run, the veterinarian said that she will be able to eat hard food in the long run, not anytime soon, but that eventually she'll be able to go back to a fairly normal diet and that everything will be okay. And so I'm very, very happy to hear that. Very, very happy to know that in the long run it will be. Until then, Tina is on an all wet food diet. And I'm expecting that to continue for a decent amount of time. The vet says that probably she was eating things when she was living on the street. She was eating things out of the trash. Maybe she ended up eating something particularly bad because she did not just have a little bit of a problem going on. Her back molars were 100% black and rotting, and she's extremely young. And so for that to have occurred in a cat that is that young, the same age as Tino, under a year, that she had to have been resorting to eating some things that were particularly awful. And so I'm very, very glad that everything is going well. She has no signs of any type of infections from all of her surgeries, and she is relaxing. So yeah, Crazy Chester, I don't know. She may end up with some cat dentures. They say she doesn't need them. So I'm fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. They say she will be able to eat hard food. I am not even able to get into her mouth so much to look at the moment because it's so sensitive. She loves cuddles and pets. She wants to snuggle up in your lap. She does not want you to touch her lower jaw at the moment. And I understand that. I'm particularly ornery when I go to the vet, and when I go to the dentist. And so I imagine that it's kind of the same idea for her going to the vet. Same way that I am after going and having somebody sticking things all over my mouth. I'm not in the best mood. I can understand where Tina's coming from. But let me jump back and get some hellos, guys, because we do need to jump into our news today pretty quickly because we've got some important news, and we also have a bit of a stopgap right there at 7 because I know everybody's going to want to jump over and check out the original Mark Z, and we do. We have the continuation of the story that we shared on Wednesday, and thank you guys so much for sharing the video on how to avoid crypto scams. I think that video is probably going to be extremely important going into the future. I know I've already gotten so many messages saying that people watched it and went, yeah, I got hit by that one. Now I know what the name of the scam is where they stole my money. Way too many messages, guys. That should have been something, I guess, that I should have been focused on from the very beginning. I'm glad that the video is out there now, and I'm going to be making more videos in regards to avoiding these because we're going to be talking about that exact situation actually today. And so first things first, we're going to go through XRP and what's going on with them. And then we're going to be jumping in to the fake Trump tokens because there are fake Trump coins being put out there that are claiming to be associated with the administration and that are not. And so let's do our hellos first, and then we're going to jump right into that XRP news before we get in to the Trump coin scams. And that's not Trump scamming anyone. It's people using his name, using his likeness in order to target us as a community. What is up, Neil? And sunny and 93 degrees in Graham, North Carolina. I bet that is a hot one, Neil. I bet that is a super hot one. And I had yet to ask Neil, are the June bugs going crazy this year? They are the weirdest thing in North Carolina. Sometimes the June bugs or June beetles, I don't know. I was taught a different name for them, but I have since learned, since being a child, that I'm not supposed to say that name for said beetles. And so I go with June beetles at this point in time. And I had yet to ask you, Neil, are they as crazy around you as they typically are out around the Greensboro area? What is up, Crazy Chester and Kukla? Thank you so much for getting a message out today that the time had changed. It was very unexpected. There's been a lot coming at us today. Mile High Trish, my apologies. It was announced far too late that the time had changed, but it was the point in time where I knew I was not going to make it. And so at that point, I knew we had information to share that was too important to wait around for. And so we pushed it back an hour. That is absolutely my fault there, Trish, but I am super glad to have you. And I also noticed your message because of the fact that we have entered into the point on Discord where we have actually gone beyond just the original 50 tickets. We actually ended up having a situation where tickets started to pop up here at the top. And because of that, it actually ended up messing with me. I had been used to checking out tickets down here. And so I missed your ticket. And do not worry, Mile High Trish. I am working on your somewhat belated birthday photo. And so those will be coming. I absolutely promise, Trish. I remember the second I saw your name, I remembered that and remembered that I was going to be putting out a comment to you. So you knew that is coming. All right. No, Patty Perry, thank you so much for joining. And YouTube is one heck of a fickle beast when it comes down to it. What's up, Linda Hearn? I hope you're having a wonderful one. And Mary Jones and Topaz. Yes, he is late tonight. He is late tonight. What's up, Deborah and Richard and Musical Lady? Thank you guys all so much for joining. And Kitty Boy Rocky, what's up, Kitty Boy? Thank you for joining this evening. And Miss Kitty, it does. I feel awful for her. And Tino doesn't understand. And so Tino is chasing after her, trying to play with her. And she is just like, leave me alone. Leave me alone. And Tino does not get it. And so we have a slightly dysfunctional house at the moment. Me and my two cat children. I have definitely at this point I have become a cat dad. And yes, Kukla, thank you as always. That is an important thing for everyone to remember. This channel is for educational and entertainment purposes alone and should not be viewed as financial or legal advice. Thank you as always. Thank you also. And I was just going to be talking about that one later into the show there, Kukla, but thank you for joining that one, for sharing that. Because yes, if anyone checks in the description, you will actually see a link to an interview that I did at the Quantum Summit with Ray Fuentes, where we talk about a few different points in regards to where blockchain technology is going. And also, when it comes down to it, what some different protocols and crypto companies to watch out for are named. And so definitely go check that out if you get a chance, if you want to hear a little bit more. It's actually really, really funny. We recorded the interview once, and then and it was a much longer interview. And then someone ended up coming along and knocking over the camera right as we were about to be done, and it deleted the entire video. So it was a particularly funny interview in regards to that. Not in any way Ray's fault. It was just a matter of people walking around and it being so busy. Somebody ended up knocking over the camera. And so we ended up recording that interview with one original and then one with slightly different questions. I was really, really glad to get to meet him and everyone else at the Quantum Summit. And so that is one to check out. I know that he also has interviews from everybody else that was there at the event. So lots to check out. Lots to check out. It was a great time. There were some funny ones. And I know by the end of it, a lot of folks that were sitting around listening to the interview were going, wait a second, I need to learn more about what you talked about, because we were talking about a lot of the things that are going on that aren't being discussed. And so a great one. Please do check that out. It's only 8 minutes and 52 seconds in totality, but he did a great job editing it down and really getting to some of the important questions. I'm certain that more will come in regards to that one. All right. Neil Brooks, the June bugs are almost done. That is good. I remember actually for a little story of Zach's youth. I remember we were going to have, and this must have been back in, it was either 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, somewhere right around there. And we had such a bad year of June bugs in North Carolina that my brother and I were running around on the 2nd and the 3rd of July trying to catch all of these things, or just trying to slow them down in the slightest, because we were going to have people over to watch fireworks. And it was so bad that it looked like the entire yard was moving. I am not certain. I've never seen them that bad ever since. But man, can they be nuts in North Carolina. Absolutely nuts. And so welcome, Gigi and Sarah Posey. Confused with the Ledger app to download. So Sarah Posey, I can actually bring this up and show you very, very quickly, because I know for many others, this is also an important one to make certain that you're going to the right place. When it comes to your ledger, and you will be presented this when you do actually plug in your ledger, you are going to want to, after you have gotten it, to make certain that you get Ledger Live. And so right here, Ledger Live. This is going to be the application for you to download. Once you have downloaded it, you will then be able to pull up your Ledger Live software at any point. An important thing here to keep in mind is that when you are looking at your Ledger Live, it is just access to that ledger. It is not the thing that you actually use to send transactions. It's the thing that you use to be able to come through here and look at what's in your wallet. And you can also initiate the transactions through the application. You're still going to always need your actual hardware wallet in order to send a transaction. And so Ledger Live is an important app as you are utilizing your hardware wallet, but it's also something to keep in mind that it's not in control. It is a user interface. It's something to make your life easier and to allow you to initiate transactions that are still going to need to be confirmed on the actual hardware wallet. But I hope, Sarah, that maybe that helped. It is ledger.com. And make certain when you are going that you always go to the proper URL when it comes down to this. And then you will be able to get the application. And from there, all you got to do is plug your whatever model you have, whether it's an X or an Nano S Plus. All you're going to do is plug it in and you will be good to go. All right, guys. But we're going to jump right into it. Yeah, David, I did. You changed your time. Here's your Apple. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, David, for the Apple. Everything got a little thrown off today. All right, so let's jump into it because we do have some important ones today. Of course, when it comes down to the overall market, we are not looking at anything that looks really any different than we saw on Monday and Wednesday. Bitcoin remains in the 64,000 range. Ethereum, also, just as we saw on Wednesday, continues to hold strong. And XRP is similarly sitting right around the same exact point it was before. The only positive news that I can really see here is that Ethereum is also attempting to decouple away from the Bitcoin price action. This is primarily on account of the fact that the SEC earlier this week dropped their lawsuit against Consensus and against Ethereum. That is really the most important part of that price change. That is the reason. Everything else was coming in as somewhat negative news, and Ethereum managed to have some particularly positive news. And so Ethereum is sitting pretty at the moment. When it comes down to it, XRP, that is actually what we're going to be jumping into immediately, because why has XRP been sitting flat for so long? Maybe what we actually just need to look at are some very, very old documents that were released by the XRP team. This is what I was excited to be able to share with everyone today because these documents just resurfaced. I will go ahead and preface this conversation and this article with the fact that it is from 2014. So a decade ago now is when this document was originally leaked from the XRP team. And it was talking about their general strategy in regards to the amount of tokens that the team in the long run was planning on selling or planning on holding onto. And so I don't want people to panic off of this data. If you are an XRP holder, this is not a reason to panic, but it is when we consider the fact that over the past year, when we look at the XRP price chart, we see it effectively stagnant between 50 cents and a very, very short period of making it up to 80 cents. Otherwise, we've seen it trade between 50 cents and 70 cents for over a year now. While we have seen cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin over a year trade from 29.30 27, 26,000, 25,000, all the way up to an all-time high of 73 plus. This is the best logic I have been able to find about why we are seeing Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies do particularly well, and at the same time seeing XRP really stagnant. And so let's jump into that article. Document reveals Ripple's plans to sell only 25 billion XRP for operations and profit. So the XRP army recently unearthed a document revealing that Ripple intends to liquidate only a quarter of the XRP supply and distribute the balance for further development. The report, authored by 3 Ripple employees from the market and business departments and Roman Leal from Goldman Sachs, reveals that Ripple intends to retain 25% of the total XRP supply. And so, for those looking at this one immediately, I would say that I do not like the verbiage on the actual article title because it kind of confuses the reader at first. What XRP or Ripple Labs is planning on doing is they plan on holding 25% of the total XRP supply for the future in regards to development, in regards to being able to pay the team, things of that nature. And so for everyone that is an XRP holder, we all know there will only ever be 100 billion XRP coins ever. And so that at that point would mean that 25 billion, if the team's planning on holding on to it, would remain with the team. So 75 billion XRP coins would be out there circulating for corporations, companies, you and I, to purchase and hold them. When we start to look at this nowadays, we are starting to see that Ripple is slowly achieving that goal. At this point in time, when we look at the genuine circulating supply, we see that the circulating supply is around 55.5 billion. And so those remaining tokens, those remaining coins, and my apologies for fluctuating back and forth between the two different terms for it, they've become so ubiquitous that it is difficult, in all honesty, just because a token and a coin, it all depends on who you talk to, whether that all makes sense. Technically, XRP is a coin, but my apologies ahead of time if I accidentally call it a token. But so there are 55.6 billion coins of XRP that are in circulation. These are flowing around. People are holding them. They could sell them at any point. And that means that there are about, I'll do some quick math, 815 billion that are currently sitting out there. So there's somewhere around 40, we'll just say 43 billion. There's 44 billion Ripple tokens that are just out there but are not in circulating supply. They're held in escrow or they're held by the Ripple team. And so if we were to take this document reveal and we were to look throughout the general progression of Ripple selling more tokens, putting more into circulation, we would then be able to extrapolate that essentially there are about 19 billion more that are planning on inner circulation in the coming years. This is a very, very large reason, and that the price has remained stagnant is because the XRP team, Ripple Labs, are going out there and they are selling XRP in order to raise more money, in order to pay costs, in order to make investments in the future growth of the company. And so what do we take away from this? Right now, we know that their original documents seem to indicate that they are planning on selling off until only 25% remain held by the company and the team. If we are to then look at the current numbers, we are going to be worrying about the fact that there are still 19 billion that have yet to enter into circulation. So we can take away from this, we're going to see more sales made by the XRP team. The XRP team, if this document remains their continued strategy, and which it does seem like it is, based off of the fact that the trajectory of circulating supply is following directly along with it, with what we've seen over the past 10 years have been Ripple slowly selling off the amount of tokens that the team and the foundation hold. And if they are heading for this point, then we are going to see an immense amount of new tokens enter circulating supply. We do know that in April, I believe it was April 16th, there were 500, half a billion XRP tokens were sold on market from an escrow account. This is not something that is even a question. Compliments of the blockchain. We know that it occurred. We know that the escrow account that they were held in had been holding those tokens since prior to 2015. And that means that this was something where they began to take tokens out of escrow and sell them. That 500 million XRP tokens ended up selling for around $280 million USD. That's a crap load of money. Whenever you start calculating things in fractions of billions or fractions of millions, it usually means you're talking about a number that is somewhat obtuse. And that's absolutely the case here. And so this is, from my perspective, because I've been talking about this for a while. I've been looking at XRP's price, looking at the correlation that typically is maintained with the price of Bitcoin, and XRP is completely disassociated from it. It seems as if the major reason that XRP has disassociated from the price of Bitcoin is because the XRP Foundation, the XRP team, are making sales in order to make investments, to take profits. They have been working a long time. At some point, you want to get paid, and to continue development. And so this is, at this point in time, the best reasoning behind why we see it. Why they are doing it this way, that's a whole other conversation. And I'm not in any way trying to make any assumptions about the full reasoning that XRP is maintaining or seems to be maintaining this strategy from back in 2014. I would say that I am a big fan of cryptocurrencies that have the vast majority of their supply in circulation, because then the market is truly dictating the value. That's an important thing to keep in mind when you see a cryptocurrency that 90% of the tokens are held by the team. It makes you worried. It makes you worried because you don't know what the team's going to do with them. Compliments of blockchain scanners and the ability to actually go through and watch what their wallets are doing. It does allow you to keep track of where the teams are spending their money, but it also always has that nagging fear. And this is something that you will see from many, many crypto investors that have been around for a long time. When they see the team holding a lot of coins or a lot of tokens, it tends to be something to worry about. It's not always universal. It really comes down to a matter of how much you trust the team. It's not a bad thing. It's a particularly good thing for the growth of the protocol. But it does mean that you are forced to place a decent amount of trust in the people that are running the show. And so for me, this news and having an answer is really not something I'm overly worried about. But I am very, very happy to at least have some kind of reasoning behind this chart. Because this chart is essentially never been coming out with any type of an explanation from the team. Why are we seeing a complete stagnation of price? Why is XRP extremely non-volatile in regards to other cryptocurrencies? Why is Bitcoin seeing all these massive gains? XRP is pegged to Bitcoin, and yet we aren't seeing the same degree of growth in XRP that we are in Bitcoin. Now I look at it, and the answer to me is actually far more simple. Remember that when the price of Bitcoin goes up, it is paired against other cryptocurrencies. And so essentially what the XRP holders, the people that are holding these massive token supplies in escrow, the team, their primary investors from way back in the early 2010s and things of that nature, they are selling off tokens in a logical manner. They are selling them off when the price of Bitcoin increases. The price of Bitcoin increases, it increases the general value of XRP because they are paired in many, many exchanges. But they are essentially selling when Bitcoin rises in order to maintain the price of XRP. And so there are many more questions we are going to be looking for the answers to in the coming months. But at this point, I can say that this is the only logical explanation for why Ripple is maintaining essentially the same price no matter what happens. Is because if the price of Bitcoin rises, the XRP team and these escrow accounts are selling XRP. They're not lowering the price of XRP. They're taking the added gains that have occurred from the Bitcoin pairing. And that gets into a lot of complicated math when it comes to the idea of how liquidity pools work and how paired assets work. But that's something we will continue to dive into and explore more. We did dive into that with staking. And so if you do go back and check out the staking videos, we talked about the idea of impermanent loss, and we talked about the idea of two connected assets. And the best way to look at this is that essentially whenever you look at, say, the exchange rate between euros and dollars, we're not going to see euros and dollars essentially go down at exactly the same time in terms of a trading pair. We're going to see that the euro is still up or down against the US dollar. It doesn't mean that the value of the euro has genuinely risen. It means that it has not fallen as much as the US dollar. And it works the same way between Bitcoin and XRP. If Bitcoin is going up and it's paired against XRP, then the value of one XRP is going up at the same rate as the Bitcoin is because they are paired assets. Now, this is when arbitrage and trading between different pairs comes into effect, and it rectifies the market. But that's not how it looks at first. When you're first looking at the charts and you're first looking at the price change between two different crypto assets or assets inside of any other financial market, it's going to immediately appear like one is falling in value against the other. And that's not necessarily the case. It's far more complicated than that, essentially. We will dive into that one, though, and we're going to be jumping into that next week so that we can get a deeper understanding of how trading pairs work and how pegged or tied together assets happen to have a direct correlation in terms of their pricing. That's something we're going to jump into. It will be a bit of a complicated one, guys, but I promise it won't be that bad, and I'm going to make it as easy as possible to explain. So we have got another crazy article. And so who imagined that Barron Trump, Martin Shkreli, and the Donald Trump campaign were all going to end up inside of the same article? For those that do not know, Martin Shkreli is the fella that ended up in quite a lot of junk on account of his decisions in regards to, I believe it was insulin and jacking up the price of insulin. I think he served prison time on account of this. And it turns out Martin Shkreli decided for his next venture to actually fake having a Donald Trump coin, a Donald Trump token. And so Donald Trump has embraced Bitcoin in recent months. We all know about that. Compliments of being members of the Crazy Cryptonaut channel. But what we were not aware of is that on Monday, a cryptocurrency called Trump Coin and using the token ticker DJT was linked to Trump by the media company Piratewares, created and led by Mike Solana, who is also a vice president at Peter Thiel's venture capital company Founders Fund. For those that do not know, Michael Solana, an extremely big name, a very, very wealthy fella. And Peter Thiel, well, that's a billionaire. And his venture capitalist companies are worth billions. And what Piratewares started to say is that per conversations, Trump is launching an official token, DJT. Adding that Trump's 18-year-old son, Barron, is spearheading this crypto venture. Please keep in mind, guys, none of this is true. I am absolutely sharing this with you because of our conversation on Wednesday, where we talked about the scams that are being utilized to target Trump supporters in the crypto space. It is not true. I guess you could go ahead at that point and assume where this is going, but don't worry, it gets way juicier in terms of what actually is going on. And so Mike Solana, the guy that's in charge of Piratewares, called it a scoop and added that he didn't speak with Trump directly, assumed this was clear, just reporting what I know via sources. Now, what ended up happening is because the price of DJT, which is a crypto token that launched over 2 months ago, surged around 300% following these claims from Piratewares. Everybody started buying it, thinking that the Trump administration actually had a crypto token. They thought they were buying Donald Trump's crypto token. Turns out, Martin Shkreli has admitted in leaked messages sent to a pseudonym. I never can say that. Pseudonym. It's easy. As soon as you say pseudonymous, I can't get that word correct. But under a pseudonym, blockchain sleuth Zach XPT, I promise, not me. The best way to know is that I would never spell my name with an H. I take personal offense to Zach spelled with an H, so you know that's not me. And you also know now how much I tend to give people a hard time for that one. And then on X broadcast that he's behind the DJT meme coin. And so Martin Shkreli ended up actually coming out and lying under fake names in regards to the information on Donald Trump before then coming out and admitting he's actually the one behind the DJT meme coin. Now, Shkreli, a convicted pharmaceutical executive who hit headlines for hiking drug prices almost 10 years ago and earned himself the moniker Pharma Bro, has become a crypto influencer since his 2022 release from prison. And he claimed that he had 1,000 pieces of evidence that he created this token with Trump's son, Barron. Now, Shkreli, who had directly denied, ended up saying he was, and he actually, under the pseudonym, ended up accepting a bounty, money for finding out the name of the actual creator. So he ended up taking out a bounty on himself in order to try and take the money from Arkham Intelligence. This is an entire, and I don't know any other way to say it, so I'm just going to go ahead and utilize a little French. This is a shit show. This is an absolute shit show. So we have got now multiple different major names. We've got Peter Thiel, who is a billionaire. We've got members of companies that are connected with him. We've got Martin Shkreli. We have Barron Trump being associated with the entire thing. And we have claims that the Trump administration had already told them that this was a go and that they were connected with the project. It turns out very few parts of the story are true. The Trump administration had nothing to do with the project. We have no proof over whether Barron Trump was associated with it. I don't believe he was. He's 18 years old. He's probably busy doing other things. I don't remember there being a huge surplus of 18-year-old entrepreneurs running around when I was sitting in high school myself, but maybe things have changed. Maybe they have. And so this is a story that takes a lot of twists and turns and does not make a lot of sense. But the important reason to have this up, guys, is that, remember, they were claiming they were connected with the Trump administration. This is exactly what we talked about on Wednesday in the Looking Out for Crypto Scams. This absolutely fits directly into an impersonation scam. They are claiming that they are connected with the Donald Trump administration. They are claiming they are connected with Barron Trump, and that he is the sole owner or the majority owner of the token. And it's not true. It's not true. And this is something that we all need to be keeping an eye out for, just as we had talked about. And this just happened to be the perfect example of how they are targeting us. They are targeting Trump supporters. They want to steal our money. And they're going to try to do it by impersonating Trump. They're going to try to do it by impersonating conservative figures, news outlets, and the like. And they're going to try to convince us to throw our money in to different projects. And so in this case, we happen to have a famous person who is actually trying to conduct the scam. Usually, it's just going to be some guy in the middle of nowhere outside of U.S. jurisdiction who is going through and trying to scam Trump supporters. Usually, it will be. In this case, it happened to be none other than Martin Shkreli himself, the official pharma bro, who was trying to scam Trump supporters out of their money. We're going to have to be extremely aware of what's going on. Extremely aware. And Deborah, how could they possibly think this would end well? That's a great question. I cannot imagine how they would think that this was going to work out in their favor. Maybe Martin Shkreli truly believed that he could pull off the scam and that he could convince people that Barron Trump really was behind it. Maybe that was the thought process. I am not certain. I don't try to spend but so much time placing myself in the shoes of these folks, but it is an interesting one to think about, Deborah. What was the thought process that made him think this would work out? Maybe it was nothing more than no one's going to notice. Maybe he didn't think anybody would figure out his name and who he was. Maybe that was the thought process. But I think Bailey down here, chief executive of the Bitcoin Magazine, who has claimed to be advising the Trump 2024 election campaign on crypto and Bitcoin. If the DJT Solana meme coin is fake, whoever propagated that needs to be tarred and feathered and chased out of our industry for good. Bailey posted to X. This is how you make the whole industry look bad and signal to the president and his team, we are a liability and not an asset. I think that was the best little snippet of a comment coming from David Bailey that I could find in regards to the situation. If it turns out to be fake, which everything is indicating it's completely fake, the Trump administration said they don't know what we're talking about when people came and asked them questions, and it's a bad look. It's a bad look for the industry on the whole, and it definitely is something that could influence Trump in a negative fashion in regards to his outlook on crypto. And so I'm not surprised that it's somebody like Martin Shkreli. Remember, this is the guy who didn't care if people with diabetes could afford their insulin or not. And so we're not talking about a moral person. We're talking about the very people to be looking out for when it comes to crypto scams. People that do not have a moral compass. And so continuing forward, though, The Winklevoss twins blast Biden's war on crypto in their Trump endorsement. Pledge 1 million BTC each to his campaign. And Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, remember the two really, really tall guys that actually made Facebook before everyone's favorite robot Zuckerberg stole it out from underneath them. They took that money that they ended up winning from the lawsuit against Facebook. They took all of that money and they invested every dime into Bitcoin. I believe it was somewhere around $95 million back in the early 2010s. They have since become many, many times over multi-billionaires, created their own hedge funds and financial organizations on account of it. And so for people that got scammed out of the idea of one of the largest companies on the planet that is currently called Meta, originally just Facebook, they have definitely managed to turn that around. There's somebody who are capable of becoming billionaires many, many times over, judging by their cumulative intellect. And so they have decided to endorse Trump, officially endorse Trump. These are two billionaires and two tech billionaires that are going in and placing themselves behind the Trump administration. I think this in and of itself was absolutely incredible to see them come out and say that. Think about the circles they're in. They are in the Silicon Valley circles. They are with the tech execs that we know tend to lean massively towards the left because their business is data. That's what most tech executives sell. Facebook is free because you as the user are the product. Whenever a service is free, especially a social media, it's because the actual product are the users. Instagram, you are the product. That's the reason Instagram doesn't ask you to pay money to download the app, is because you are the product. It's the same thing with Facebook. It's the same thing with all these others. And that's why so many of these tech executives are so left-leaning, because their business is a lack of privacy. Their business is packaging people and their data and selling it. That's what we're all essentially doing when we participate in any of the social media platforms. I don't think that business model is necessarily bad if the companies are regulated in the form of the data and information that they are packaging and selling. And this is, to me, a big indication that while the Winklevoss twins are in the tech industry, they're not viewing us as their product. Their product is actually selling real products in regards to providing positive exchanges, providing positive decentralized applications for the crypto industry. And so in this case, two billionaires in one fell swoop just endorsed Donald J. Trump for president and are out there fighting the good fight in regards to Biden's war for central bank digital currencies. So, continuing forward, RFK Jr. promises to pardon Silk Road's Ross Ulbricht if elected. This article, guys, and the reason that I have it up here is because we're seeing the effect of Donald Trump's move towards crypto. Donald Trump came out and said, that Trump would pardon Ross Ulbricht. Now, we're seeing RFK Jr. do the same. How long until we see Biden coming out and trying to act like it was his idea? At this point in time, the Trump administration is leading the charge in regards to the conversation. They have taken the initiative away from other factors, from other parties. And now other parties are having to fall in line behind them and try to catch up. This is a very, very positive sign, in my opinion, in regards to the conversations that are being had in back rooms. All right, an article that I have got up here absolutely for the community to share. I am not going to dig into this one at all during the stream today. I'm going to be posting this immediately everywhere around. What is Tether's gold-backed stablecoin all about? This is an important one, guys. We're all worried about the idea and how soon we're going to start to see currency that is backed up by real-world assets like gold and silver. Alloy, with their Tether partnership, are the first major company to put out a one-to-one or a US dollar that is backed by physical gold. And that means it's an important thing for us to be keeping an eye on. They're the first that are really a big company. There have been others that have tokenized gold. In this case, it is a token is worth $1 US, and that $1 US is backed up by gold in a vault. Very, very important one to be keeping an eye on, guys. And so from this point onward, though, I have only got one last thing, and that is for anybody that does have a chance. Please do go check out the interview that I had with Ray Fuentes. I would absolutely appreciate it, and I'm certain Ray would appreciate it as well. And check out some of the other interviews from the Quantum Summit. So with nothing else left to jump into, unless I have a question or two, I'm going to go ahead and end things soon. I would say, guys, the NFT giveaway, it is free. I'm sending out free NFTs. And the idea behind it is to use that NFT to show people some of the different applications that non-fungible tokens have. We're going to use that NFT to grant people membership to a special room inside of community channels. And we're going to show how holding an NFT can be used for a variety of different applications. It can be utilized as essentially a proof of membership. It could be utilized as proof of ownership. It could be utilized for advertising, maybe. There are so many applications to a non-fungible token. And because of the way it came out and everybody learned about the technology as being nothing more than a way for you to prove you own that funny little image of a board, of a Bored Ape Yacht Club type NFT, that it came out that way. It's not going to be used that way in the long run. And so please do utilize a random wallet that isn't your main wallet. Put it in there in the giveaway application, and I will be sending those first copies along on Sunday. I will probably keep sending those along into the future after Sunday, but technically Sunday will be the end of the NFT giveaway. So please do put your information in if you want one. It's free. It's just going to be a matter of having well, it's not physical, but having an NFT in your wallet so that we can explore those other applications of the tech. And so thank you guys all so much for joining. Musical Lady, it will be on Sunday. On Sunday, it will pop into your wallet. It will be called Crazy Kryptonaut or something of that nature, and it will pop into your wallet without you doing anything. And all of it is going to be based around having something for people to go out there with and experiment while not risking their money. Because I don't want people going out there and learning about this technology and having to risk their hard-earned dollars. I want you to be able to go out there and learn about the tech without having to risk money. And so we're going to learn about it with a free NFT. So you have nothing to worry about on that one, Musical Lady. You'll get it on Sunday. Will be the first time I release those NFTs. I probably will again in the future, but y'all will be the first ones to be able to access them. And so thank you guys all so much. I am going to get off of here and get ready to watch Pops in just a couple minutes. And so I will see everyone over there in the chat on the original Mark Z. Peace, guys.